Well, today is St. Patrick's Day, so to all of you who have some Irish in your genetic makeup, congratulations and special blessings to you this day. St. Patrick, of course, was English. He was, yeah. But he brought the gospel to Ireland and got rid of the snakes, my personal favorite that he took care of. And of course, the color green is the color we most associate with Patrick and with Irish culture. It is also the color of Islam. And in view of the horrific events of Friday, I want to speak about the color of Islam. We saw, and most of the world saw, the horrific acts of one deranged, hateful individual in Christchurch, New Zealand, forgive me, who in our name, and I'm speaking of white European Christian civilization, covers a lot of us in this room, slaughtered unarmed worshiping men, women, and children in their place of worship. And he filmed it live with commentary. He's shown absolutely no remorse. He compares himself to the Crusaders and said he contacted a group called the Knights Templar, which is a crusading order, and got their approval for this unspeakable act. Jesus is quite clear on this subject of how we are to treat our neighbors. In the parable of the Good Samaritan, Jesus tells the story of a man who's beaten up and left at the side of the road, and two Jewish holy men pass him by. They'll have nothing to do with him. But then a third man who is a Samaritan. The Samaritans were considered unclean, unorthodox, heretical cousins of the Jews. They were in fact related by faith, but not quite the right faith, not quite the right ethnicity. And the Jews were commanded by their authorities to have nothing to do with them. It is the Samaritan who stops, shows kindness to the beaten man, takes care of him, pays for his care, looks after him, ensures his healing. And Jesus tells this story not to give the example of what it means to be good, but he tells this story to illustrate who is our neighbor. And his point is, yes, even the Samaritans that you've been taught to hate and fear and to treat as other, those are our neighbors. Well, my friends, the Muslims are our neighbors, and they are our cousins as well. We share a common heritage in the monotheistic faith of Abraham. There are three faiths that come out of this historic root of the father Abraham. Judaism is the first, and we come out of Judaism, and then the Muslims came after us. And they honor Jesus, and they honor his mother Mary. In fact, she is mentioned and honored more in the Quran many times over than in the Christian Bible. Many times over. They are, in fact, our neighbors and our cousins. And so for somebody to slaughter them in the name of Christianity is the worst apostasy I can imagine. Now, who are our neighbors? It might surprise you that we have had a long relationship in this country with Muslims. And it's earlier than I ever expected. Just this morning, as I was preparing for the sermon, I learned King Offa of Mercia. Anybody remember that from their history? Ruled Mercia, one of the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms, in the 700s. We're talking early. He minted a coin with his name on it, and then in Arabic, Allah is the one true God. In Arabic, on this coin. And historians have looked at this and wondered what that was about. And it's because we were engaged in trade at that early time with the Arab kingdoms in North Africa. And this was sort of one of the common currencies of that age. So among the earliest of English coins, there is a reference to Allah in Arabic. Had no idea. The first large group of Muslims that settled in the UK and in what is England Come in the 17th century, they're recruited as sailors to serve on merchant vessels and cooks. So I'm not sure that's the first time we got, Middle Eastern cooking in London, but possibly. And they tended to settle in the port cities. And of course, after we have this empire encompassing, a third of the globe, and we conquer countries like India that has millions of Muslim people, Islamic people. Through the empire, of course, we've gathered together here in the capital and throughout England, throughout the UK, people from all the former colonial areas. And we have a growing Muslim population here in the UK. Currently, about 6.8% of the population in the UK is Muslim by faith. In Greenwich, let's see, I had some statistics here. In Greenwich, we are 52.9% Christian, 25% no religion, 6.8% Muslim. That's the Greenwich figure. And then there's 34 people who believe in heavy metal. And 698 people identify as Jedi Knights. So, hey, we are quite diverse. We have a relationship, of course, with the Greenwich Islamic Center. A number of us visited last year. Remember, we went down there for Visit My Mosque Day, and we were very kindly received. The food was pretty good. They've been over here to see us when we had the Bring and Share for the Syrian refugees. And I work with them on a regular basis on the Syrian refugee project. We've got good relations. And they really are our cousins in many ways, theologically and so forth. Our own culture owes a lot to their contributions. Let me just give a list of things to which we are indebted to them for our culture, like numbers. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Those are theirs. They shared them with us. You use them every day. Mathematics. Mathematics is Arabic, Islamic. Algebra, algorithms, chess, backgammon, surgery, astronomy, artichokes, spinach, and aubergine, violins and guitars, suction pumps. Anybody know that? Here's a list of words that have come into our vocabulary that are Arabic, and I'm just going up through the A's for starters. Alcohol, we like that one in this church, don't we? Okay. Admiral, apricot, arsenal, average, azure. Candy is Arabic. Caravan, check, cipher, crimson, damask, elixir, jar, jumper. You're wearing an Arabic garment. Did you know that? Sugar. Did you know sugar is an Arabic word? Coffee, cotton, camphor, and the list goes on. We have been closely linked with them for longer than we know. So, we're Christians, and we see our neighbors under our attack. We have 2 mosques in our area. One is a small one, a Sufi mosque, men only, in Charlton, over there by the Charlton Athletic Stadium. I didn't know that until I started preparing for this sermon. The one we know is the big one on Woolwich Road, the Greenwich Islamic Center. As Christians, we are called to love our neighbors as ourselves. When Jesus is asked, what is the greatest commandment, by the lawyer questions Jesus in the temple, okay, Mr. Smarty Pants prophet, what's the greatest commandment out of all the commandments? And he says, you shall love your God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. And then he says, out of this springs all the rest of the laws. So my advice today is memorize those 2, you're fine. We talked about that the other night at Galilee course. Memorize those 2, figure it out from there. Okay, so how do we figure out the situation now, where our brothers and sisters, our cousins in faith, are under attack? We send them our love and solidarity. We speak out against Islamophobia and hate, and we defend them. And I think that's what we're called to do as followers of Christ.